All right, we got a match against a Paladin. Um, just to go over the Mulligan here, we it's largely the same against Paladin. Um, I like to actually look to see how many cards they keep and how many they toss because Murloc Paladin, in my experience, is common enough to where you don't want to just assume it's Secret Paladin, and that sometimes determines whether or not I keep cards like Dark Cultist or Velen's Chosen if I'm on the coin, or I already have 1 and 2 drops. That being said, that doesn't come up here. I'm just gonna toss Shadow or Death, and even though I don't have a 1 drop, I go ahead and keep Power Word Shield anyway. And this situation, whenever this situation comes up, I like to coin out Mech Warper or Shadow Boxer against Paladin if I'm going second and they don't play anything turn 1. The reason why is because you have to be able to anticipate your opponent's possible early minions, or really just any minions they play in general, and choosing which minion to play based on that. It's especially important against any minion-based deck, particularly aggressive decks like Hunter or any decks that want to grab tempo early like Zoo or Tempo Mage. So just this example here is perfect. I played Shadow Boxer anticipating either Knife Juggler or Shielded Minibot. And he plays Bluegill Warrior turn 3 and picks off the Shadow Boxer, so I know right away what I'm going to be going up against. This is a Murloc Paladin. Against this particular matchup, you kind of have to treat it like Freeze Mage because the way the deck's built, it's built similar to Freeze Mage. It runs kind of a Freeze Mage shell. I mean, obviously there's no Mage cards, but you have to be very patient in this matchup, which I'll explain in a second. But he drops Old Murkai. This is your number one target that you want to entomb in this matchup. Unfortunately, he played it early, so now I'm not going to get to entomb it, so I just kill it off. Your next best targets in this order are Murloc War Leader if you can't get Old Murkai, and then if you can't get either one of those, then Sludge Belcher is okay. I played Northshire Cleric there and Power Word Shield it to make it extremely tough for him to just True Silver Champion it down. He'd be forced to True Silver Champion Dark Cultist, and my opponent definitely would not want to do that. Here he gets the Doomsayer off. I go ahead and attack into the Outdoor Peacekeeper with my Dark Cultist, hero power it so I can draw a card off Northshire, go face with Northshire, and just let Doomsayer clear the board as I have no way of taking care of it. I don't want to use Entomb. You don't want to use Entomb on Doomsayer in this matchup. You kind of just let it go off. So, but yeah, going back to what I was stating earlier, it took me a couple games to learn this matchup, but yeah, again, you have to be very patient versus Murloc Paladin. You really do have to be aggressive, just like Freeze Mage as well. You need to really putting pressure on them is the most important thing you can do before they can sacrifice all their Murlocs and then draw into any Fin to kill you. Because the card does 22 damage if one copy of each Murloc has died in the game. And you definitely have to keep track of which Murlocs have died and which haven't, and then just take it from there. There are key cards that you should only use in very specific situations and against very specific minions. Shadow Word Pain is for Doomsayer only. You don't want to Shadow Word Pain anything else. The versions that play Acolyte of Pain, you preferably want to Cabal Shadow Priest the Acolyte of Pain. I believe the standard list plays Acolyte of Pain, if I'm not mistaken. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, you want to Shadow Word Pain Doomsayer. That's the only target for Shadow Word Pain. Like I said before, Old Murkai is your number one target for Entomb. After that, it's War Leader, and then after that, it's Sludge Belcher. Velen's Chosen should only be used if you have Holy Nova in hand and you somehow survive the first Anyfin, which I've never survived the first anyfin whenever they did get it off. So that kind of tells you that Murloc Paladin is not a favorable matchup for us, but you can win if you play it right. So here I'm just gonna stack the board, and I'm trying to just bait him into using Wild Pyromancer Equality to clear the board. That's another thing, you want to try to bait that out. I like to bait out those type of board clears before playing Dr. Boom. I could have easily just played Dr. Boom on curve, but I wanted to try to bait out the board clear first, see if my opponent has it, and if not, then I'll usually go with Dr. Boom. Or if they do have it, it's even better, because then I could just play Dr. Boom, usually on an empty board, uncontested. So Erie's gonna Doomsayer, does a nice little trick here, swings at the Sylvanas, so I end up stealing his Doomsayer, similar to the Freeze Mage shenanigans, and my board gets wiped. Another thing is, regarding your Discover cards, what you want to pick with Museum Curator and Gorillabot, you want to prioritize Taunt minions with your Discover cards, which I didn't say this in the Druid video, but that's pretty important against Druid as well, only in a situation where you think you're going to die from combo. But yeah, anyway, you want to choose cards like Sludge Belcher, Annoyatron, Arcane Nullifier, Chill Maw, cards like that, just to prevent you from dying to anything as much as possible. Saving Defender of Argus is important as well, for the same reasons I just stated. Like here, I could Defender, but I'm being very patient, and I just want to make sure I use the cards at the right time. Lotheb should only be used if they have lethal with anything, or if you can set up a next turn lethal with your board. Those are the only two situations to play Lotheb, which is why I'm saving Lotheb here as well. And I'm just gonna go with Gorillabot. Here I don't get a target dummy, even though I said to get taunt minions. Don't pick target dummy unless you're absolutely desperate, unless you just don't have a choice. So here I'm just gonna I choose to heal Dr. Boom. I guess I was playing around Consecration or something like that, so it just doesn't get wiped. But if for some reason you cannot bait the Pyromancer Equality board clear, then just pressuring your opponent is the most important thing you can do in this matchup. So then in those situations, if they just refuse to use it, then you just play your guys. You still try not to play all your guys, but you want to play some of them, because you want to put damage down. And there you see that I go ahead and just entomb his Sludge Belcher. It's the third best target in the deck. I decided I'm just not going to wait for a War Leader. Let's try to push damage through. Get the board cleared and get Shredder down. Drops Healbot, drops Sludge Belcher. And see here, yet again, this is another turn where Defender of Argus looks extremely juicy, because it makes my trades very, very good here. And I really, really think about it this turn, but ultimately I decide not to go with it, and I actually choose to sacrifice the front half of the Shredder and take out the first half of the Sludge Belcher with the Gorillabot and the Shredder, whereas I could have just done it with Shredder if I Argus, but again, I'm saving Argus for when my opponent has lethal with anything can happen. I get the absolute best 2-drop you can possibly get from Pilot of Shredder, though, which is a Millhouse Mana Storm, which is excellent. And here I just go ahead and just decide to play Sneeds, just to make my board a bit more resilient against the Pyro Equality combo, so that way my board doesn't get completely wiped. But I'm in a pretty good spot. Just like I've been saying throughout this whole match, I'm just being patient with my cards. I'm not using Loatheb unless that situation comes up where I can set up lethal or my opponent has lethal against me. It shows the consecration here, so I can get rid of the Gorilla Bot and Millhouse. But yeah, Light Bomb you're only going to use if you somehow survive the first anything, because they're a lot. They play a lot like Freeze Mage, and here, just like I was saying before, I choose Chill Maw over Anubis Half Sentinel, and definitely over Major Domo. You definitely don't want that against Murloc Paladin. But yeah, taunt minions are very important, so you don't get comboed out in one swoop. Yeah, like I was saying, Light Bomb is for if you somehow survive the first anything. Here I just go ahead and drop Elise and Shredder just to make the board even stickier and to just get the map in there just in case. Plays the second Bluegill Warrior. Out comes a Shadow Boxer, which is great for me actually. And here I draw Shadow Word Pain. We're definitely not using that on a 1/1 token. And I choose to just go ahead and use the Curator, take out the token, and then so that way the 1 damage can go to face when I heal. I want to put as much damage on him as possible and just really pressure him. And here I'm once again deciding if I want to play Defender of Art, if I want to play Loatheb, or if I want to play Chill Maw. And I opt not to do either one and just keep the board position I have. But if nothing exciting happens this turn, then we'll probably set up lethal. But he throws out the Pyro Equality, and I get Fugan, which is pretty good. And here I pick up Cabal. There's not much to Cabal in this matchup because they're rarely going to have any type of board presence. Again, you're only really going to be stealing Acolyte of Pain or a 1/1 like I just did here. And here my opponent decides to get a little bit aggressive. This kind of tells me that anything can happen is in my opponent's hand if he's going face with the True Silver Champion. But I mean, he just doesn't have the Murlocs to do 22 damage yet though. Because the old Murkai and 2 Bluegill Warriors are gone. And the combo's not going to do enough damage yet. So there I just clear the token, go face with the other 8, and then I realize that I can set up lethal. If I just drop Loatheb here, this will prevent him from healing with Lay on Hands. He's basically forced to have the second Antique Heal Bot at this point. It'll prevent Solemn Vigil from drawing into more answers. So hopefully this is going to be enough. He top decks War Leader, and then goes face with the True Silver Champion again. But yeah, regarding Cabal, there's no point in trying to wait for a Bluegill Warrior or Old Murkai, as they're only going to play those when they can get them to die on the same turn. But yeah, that's the game. I just go ahead and just throw a little BM his way and get the Bran Argus combo going, and that's gonna be it. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next match.